My name is Mirabelle Smith, a 37-year-old office worker. My family consists of my husband, Ken, who is the same age as me, and our son, Harry, who is turning 9 this year. I met Ken through a mixer set up by a colleague from work, and our relationship blossomed from there. After dating for 3 years, we got married. I think I have a good relationship with my in-laws. Having lost my parents when I just started working, I came to cherish my kind in-laws as if they were my second parents. My sister-in-law, Anna, is what you'd call a strong and dependable person, someone I can really rely on. Our son, Harry, is full of curiosity and a bit precocious. He often does things that we, as adults, could never imagine, giving us quite a few scares. But he's grown up healthy and without any serious injuries or illnesses. It is all I could ask for. Our family has lived harmoniously without any major troubles to this day. Then, one day, my husband suggested, shouldn't we buy a car soon? Since our commutes were easily manageable by foot and train, we didn't own a car. Although I have a license, I'm practically a paper driver. Not quite seeing the point, I was met with my husband's enthusiastic voice as he spread out car catalogs on the table.
Harry's getting bigger, and I think we'll be going out more as a family. It might be a bit early, but once Harry hits middle school, we can use it for dropping off and picking up from extracurriculars. And, to be honest, I've always dreamed of having my own car, so.
Seeing his serious expression, I realized he had given this a lot of thought for our future.
All right. Let's go take a look during our next day off.
My husband's face lit up at my response. And so, we ended up buying a compact car for around $40,000. My husband and son were ecstatic with our shiny new car. I watched their happy faces with a smile. Thinking back, that moment might have been the peak of happiness for our family. About a month after the car was delivered, I went to pick up Harry from his after-school club and we headed home together. I noticed our car wasn't in the parking lot. But I didn't think much of it, assuming my husband had taken it. Entering the house and turning on the lights in the dark living room, something on the table caught my eye.
Mom, what's this?
As my son peeked over the table pointing at something, I casually looked at it, saying, "What could it be?" In an instant, time seemed to stop.
Huh?
It was a divorce paper. A loan divorce paper with my husband Ken's name filled out was just sitting there. My mind went blank in a second. I couldn't grasp the situation. What? Why is there a divorce paper? And why is Ken's name on it?
Mom?
Pulled back to reality by my son tugging at my sleeve, I quickly said,
"Oh, Harry, can you go to the other room for a bit? Mom needs to make a phone call." "Okay."
Watching Harry dash through the living room, I shakily took out my smartphone. With trembling fingers, I dialed Ken's number. After a few rings, a disinterested voice answered, "Yeah?
It's me. Hey, where are you right now?"
"Huh? What's up? You're not home yet. Didn't you see it?" His tone, rougher than I'd ever heard, sent a jolt through my heart, making me tense up.
"If you're talking about the divorce paper, yes, I just saw it. I was so shocked I had to call you."
Gotcha. So you saw it? Then, that's that. We're done. Just file it, will ya?"
Just wait a minute. Can you please explain what's going on?"
I cried out desperately. On the other end, Ken sighed, sounding annoyed. "What, you can't figure it out? I'm saying we're getting a divorce. You're just not fun anymore. You might think you're acting all pure because you were raised well, but nobody's buying that nowadays. You won't even let me touch your family's inheritance. I've realized marrying you was a mistake. I'm gonna be with my young and cute girlfriend now. Got it?"
Wah!
I was speechless at the torrent of cruel words. Is this really Ken? Without waiting for my response, he continued. "You didn't even notice I've been cheating on you. Tried giving you hints, but you're oblivious. Guess you're just not interested in me, right? Better to split up sooner for both of us. Oh, and keep the car, will ya? You won't use it anyway."
What? Wait a minute. The car's in my name, right? And what about the loan?
Yes, the car loan was in my name.
Yeah, about that. You take care of it, will you? I mean, you hardly spend any money anyway, you must have saved up a bunch. That's not fair. Also, I'm gonna take those accessories you got from your parents. My girlfriend wants them. They might be a bit old-fashioned, but they'll sell for a good amount, and we won't have to worry about money for a while.
I was speechless at his words. What did he just say? He's talking about taking the precious accessories I inherited from my deceased parents. I was so shocked, I couldn't say anything. Without caring about my reaction, he said, "Well then, take care. And take good care of Harry for me." And with that, he hung up. I just collapsed on the spot, still holding my smartphone. Mom? Are you done on the phone? Mom. What's wrong, Mom? Harry's voice calling me felt distant. My memory of what happened next is blurry. I checked my bedroom chest and saw that not only the accessories but also my bank book had been taken without permission. Somehow, I managed to file the divorce papers, and then I tried to immerse myself in work to forget everything, but I ended up collapsing at work. The next thing I knew, I was in a hospital bed. I diagnosed with depression. I was admitted to the hospital. My sister-in-law, Anna, who was notified that I was rushed to the emergency room, came to the hospital with Harry in a panic. I remember Anna saying something, but I can't recall my response. I was in such a state that I couldn't do anything. A few days later, Harry, who came to visit me, whispered quietly as if to ensure only I could hear. "It's okay, Mom. I'll make Dad pay for what he did." I couldn't understand the meaning behind his words as I looked back at his face. Harry smiled at me, his eyes filled with curiosity. The next day, Anna rushed into my hospital room, panting.
"Mirabelle! Turn on the TV, quick!"
In a daze, I turned on the TV as she asked. And then, under suspicion of vandalism, Ken Smith.
Huh.
The name that came flowing out from the news program that had just been turned on was unmistakably my husband's name. No, now ex-husband's name. It seemed to be a local news segment, and while I was zoned out, the news piece had already ended. The man being taken away on the screen was definitely my ex-husband. In short, the news was about my ex-husband causing a disturbance at his workplace and then trying to flee the scene in a car, which led to an accident. What in the world was this about? Slowly, I turned my head to look at my sister-in-law, Anna.
Anna, what's this?" "Well..."
Anna clearly knew what was going on but seemed hesitant to tell me. Despite coming all the way to my hospital room and urging me to turn on the news, it seemed she had reservations about explaining it to me. Anna scratched her head vigorously.
"You see, I thought if you knew the details, Mirabelle, you might collapse again, so..."
"It's okay. Please tell me."
"But..."
"If necessary, we can call the doctor and a nurse." I pleaded, and Anna nodded in agreement. "I see." I pressed the nurse call button, deciding it was best to have a nurse present, just in case. Anna began to speak, as if making up her mind.
"Actually, it was Harry who did something."
Hearing my son's name from her lips made my heart race.
"What do you mean?"
I asked tentatively. The image of Harry's smiling face from the day before flashed through my mind, along with his mysterious words. Anna spoke at length about what had happened. As she initially said, it all came down to Harry did something. Seeing me collapsed and heartbroken, Harry felt he had to do something about it. But what could a young boy like Harry possibly do? One would normally think not much. But that's Harry, a bundle of curiosity. "I've got to do something," quickly turned into "I'll get back at those who hurt Mom, teach them a lesson," in his mind. First, Harry went around to the neighbors, crying, "Dad stole a bunch of stuff and disappeared." Then, he took a picture of his father to the police station, yelling through tears, "My dad stole Mom's things and ran away, you have to arrest him." But the police, thinking it was either a child's prank or just a domestic dispute, didn't take action. Frustrated, Harry found out from Aunt Anna where his dad's office was and jumped on a train. His dad wasn't at the office. He had already quit, handing in his resignation. I later found out that he had quit the day he served me with the divorce papers. How he planned to live with his mistress under these circumstances is beyond me. Maybe he thought the car he took, my accessories, and the bank book would suffice, but it seemed like a series of impulsive acts. Maybe he intended to disappear to avoid alimony and child support. When Harry arrived at the company, he cried and made a scene at the reception.
"My dad stole Mom's stuff and disappeared. Wah! Dad's always mean to Mom. I came all this way because I want the things Dad stole to be returned." Isn't Dad here? If he's not here, do you know where he is? Wah!
His cries echoed through the office, surprising his father's former colleagues. Apparently, one colleague thought I, the wife, was the reason for the divorce due to my infidelity and that my husband was moving far away to start over because it would be awkward to run into each other. From start to finish, it was all lies. In a panic, the colleague called my ex-husband, not knowing where he was, and summoned him to the office, saying, "His son is here crying." And then, my ex-husband showed up, out of breath and drenched in sweat, unable to maintain the facade of a father.
Ha ha! Hey, Harry! Calm down, will ya? Where's Mom? She must be nearby, right? Letting a child do something like this. What a terrible mother! Not only did she fail as a wife, but she's also a failure as a mother.
My ex-husband yelled just as loudly as Harry, trying to shift all the blame onto me, suggesting I had instigated Harry to expose what his father had done. But Harry stood his ground firmly.
That's not true. Mom isn't here, and she can't come. Mom collapsed at work and had to be hospitalized. I came here all by myself. Ha, what? Hospitalized? Since when was she so frail? No, that's not the point. I won't believe such a thing. That must be a lie. You're just trying to catch me off guard, aren't you? Hey, Mirabelle. Where are you? You must be nearby. Come out and explain to Harry that it's all, absolutely all, your fault we're getting a divorce. It's not a lie. Mom has depression, the doctor said so. It's because Dad stole a lot of Mom's things and disappeared. Mom got really hurt, and even though she kept pushing herself, she had too much stress, and like a balloon, she just popped. That's why she can't do anything now, the doctor said. Depression.
Ken was flustered, surrounded by coworkers who had gathered around to see the commotion. In the spotlight, Harry pressed on.
It's all Dad's fault that Mom ended up like this. Dad took the car Mom bought without asking. I was looking forward to going out in that car. We picked it out together at the dealership, so why did he take it? And isn't a lot of money supposed to be paid for the car? Why does Mom have to pay for it when Dad was the one who took it? Well, that's because Mom doesn't use the car much. So, I thought it'd be more useful if I used it. The car would be happier, you know. So, then you should pay for the car. Why does Mom have to pay for it? I had no choice. I couldn't get the loan in my name. My salary has been dropping lately. She's been saving up all her salary without spending much. She's got her parents' inheritance too. She could at least share a bit with our family, right? It's not just that. Dad also took Mom's cherished rings and brooches without asking. That's stealing, right? Stealing is bad, and if you do it, you get caught, right? So, Dad should be caught too. In a marriage, that's not, stealing. Besides, those old accessories are worthless fakes. I got turned down when I tried to sell them. Seriously, her parents could have left something better. What? Dad, you tried to sell Mom's precious things. That's awful. No, I didn't sell them. They didn't sell. I was turned down. And then, the store clerk accused me of all sorts, asking for a certificate of authenticity or something.
Indeed, that's the right reaction from the store. The accessories I inherited from my late parents were designed by a famous jewelry designer known as a master abroad. He was notoriously finicky, selling his creations only to those he personally approved of. Even more than 30 years after his death, his works are treated as legendary. The reason my parents had his pieces is a story akin to a drama. During a secret trip to the USA, he got lost and was helped by my parents, who were on their honeymoon at the time. Despite being newlyweds, they spent several days showing him the best of the USA. My parents were quite naive and probably didn't think much of it. Touched by their kindness, the master sent them several pieces of jewelry as a thank you after returning home. It was then my parents realized the kind old man they'd been touring with was a world-renowned figure. Their correspondence continued through letters until his death. But back to the main story, that's how I ended up with the jewelry. Each piece is engraved with a serial number, and I have the certificates Ken mentioned. Ken, focused solely on the jewelry, overlooked these documents. The pawnshop clerk must have realized they were dealing with the work of a famous designer and suspected the items might be stolen. When you look at it globally, the accessories are not only often counterfeited but also frequently targeted for theft. So the clerk turned down the buyback. Ken didn't have any means to prove it was genuine. He had hit a dead end.
They belong to Mom. They are important things she got from Grandma and Grandpa. You don't need them, Dad. Thief. Give them back.
All right. They're not stolen. Fine, I'll give back this stuff that's not even worth the trouble. Ken carelessly threw the jewelry from his pocket. Harry, in shock, dove for it and managed to catch it just before it hit the floor, falling to the ground himself in the process.
Hey, kid. Are you okay?
Ken's coworker rushed over to help Harry up.
I'm okay. Mom's precious things are safe.
Harry smiled weakly, clutching the jewelry. Ken watched the exchange from a distance, looking down on them.
Listen here. I can't stand hearing this anymore. Didn't you say the divorce was your wife's fault? But listening to all this, it sounds like you just took her stuff and ran away. Was the divorce really your fault?
The coworker confronted Ken, who just laughed it off. Oh come on, you're gonna believe a kid. He's just confused. Mirabelle's in the hospital, right? That's got him all messed up. You know, kids can't handle stress. Harry glared at Ken from the coworker's arms.
It's not a lie. I'm not confused. Dad's the bad one. And you, weren't there rumors about you and Ms. Gold at work? Being all lovey-dovey in front of everyone, could it be you were the one having an affair? That's why you got a divorce and quit your job, to run away? She's been missing from work too. Hey. That's a misunderstanding. There's nothing between me and Ms. Gold.
It was then.
The police are questioning me about the car. Something about it being stolen.
Ms. Gold herself entered, pleading for Ken's help.
What? Police? What's going on? I don't know. They're asking about the car, saying it's stolen or something. What?
The sight of police officers seemed to strike fear even in the most brazen. Ken screamed nonsensically, knocked over a plant, shoved a waiting officer, and jumped into a car parked on the street. Ken screamed nonsensically, knocked over a plant, shoved a waiting officer, and jumped into a car parked on the street. He then drove off, crashing into the building where his company was located. It was a shocking incident that even made the local news, but fortunately, no one was injured. Listening to my sister-in-law's story, I nearly passed out several times. Anna said she was called by the police after hearing Harry's story and learned about the commotion. Putting together what the neighbors, company people, and police said, it seems like this. And Harry even used my smartphone to record everything. Ken's ranting and the arguments at the company were all clearly captured. After finishing her story, Anna sighed deeply. If I had suspected anything odd when Harry asked me for Ken's company address, maybe this mess could have been avoided. It's my fault for not supervising enough. I'm really sorry. To Anna's apology, I asked, with a trembling voice, about what worried me the most.
Harry? Where is Harry now?
Ah, yes, you must be worried. Harry is currently being checked by the doctor here. It seems like there are no visible injuries, but just to be sure. Before Anna could finish, the door to the hospital room burst open energetically. There stood Harry, with a beaming smile.
Mom. Look. I got back your treasures from Dad. Hey, Harry. Don't run.
Harry was holding my jewelry in his hand as he ran towards me, a large band-aid visible on his knee peeking out from his shorts. Just before Harry reached my bed, I raised my voice loudly.
Idiot!
Startled by my shout, both Anna and Harry froze in their tracks. Gasping for breath, Harry timidly spoke.
Mom? What's wrong? Why did you do something so reckless on your own? Going to Ken's. Dad's company by yourself, that's just. Why are you mad? I got back your important things. Look. That's not the point. Yes, the things Dad took were important to me, and I definitely plan to get them back. But you didn't have to do it. What if Dad had gotten angry and hurt you? You could have been injured far worse than just a fall. For me, for your mom, you are more precious than any treasure. Oh,
I ran out of breath after shouting so suddenly. A nurse nearby hurried to my side to help me catch my breath. Harry's eyes were brimming with tears as he approached the bed.
Mom! I'm sorry. I just wanted to be useful, make Dad pay for what he did. Wah!
I stroked Harry's small frame, assuring myself of his presence. Oh. I'm sorry for yelling, but thank you for getting back my precious things. Just don't ever do anything so dangerous again. I hugged my son tightly, tearfully pleading with him. The room was filled with commotion, and soon after, Harry was taken home by Anna. Before leaving, I made a promise with Anna to overcome this illness and live together with Harry again, and to ensure that Ken faces the consequences of his actions.
Leave the details to me, Mirabelle. Just focus on getting better,
Anna said, giving a thumbs up, looking more dependable than ever. I vaguely remembered calling Anna first, but when I was stunned by Ken's divorce declaration, Harry firstly called for this sister-in-law. Urged by an infuriated Anna, after filing for divorce, I reported the car theft to the police and consulted with the bank about the unauthorized withdrawal from my account. The bank acted swiftly, ensuring that even though the passbook and card were taken, no money could be moved from the account. Because he couldn't withdraw the money he was counting on, Ken tried to sell my jewelry, which also failed. Furthermore, when he rushed to his company due to the incident with Harry, a passing police officer identified the car he had parked on the street as the one reported stolen. Ken's plans had failed at every turn. Encouraged by Anna, I decided to press criminal charges against Ken. Although I would leave the detailed procedures to Anna until I was discharged from the hospital, she was determined to give Ken a thorough beating using this opportunity. Ken has since been released and apparently has moved back in with his affair partner. I focused on my treatment, receiving visits from the police, the lawyer Anna hired, and Ken's parents, who came to sever their parental ties with me, apologizing profusely. Of course, Harry, accompanied by Anna and Ken's parents, came to see me almost every day. There were days when I couldn't see him depending on my condition, but just hearing about his well-being from the nurses was enough for me. 3 months passed, and I recovered smoothly. I still needed outpatient visits and medication, but I was allowed to be discharged from the hospital.
I'm home. Welcome back, Mom. Hee, I'm back.
Returning to our house for the first time in a while felt too large for just the two of us, and I knew we would need to move. Just as I was pondering this, a call from Ken suddenly came in. My tension spiked, but Harry, sensing something, came over and held my hand. I answered Ken's call. He started ranting right away.
Finally, you pick up the phone. Hey. Are you still mad about some nonsense? Planning to sue me? You want to make Harry the son of a criminal? Drop it now. I get pointed at just for walking outside. Where did these rumors even start? Is that all you have to say?
I replied calmly, which seemed to catch Ken off guard. I continued.
No matter what you say now, what you did to me won't change, and I have no intention of withdrawing the lawsuit. Perhaps it's time for you to reconsider how you'll live from now on. Moreover, you're no longer Harry's father. I'm his only parent. Please don't say anything ridiculous. Hey, what the? Are you really Mirabelle? I am myself. And you, after all you've done to Harry, dare to act like a father. Is that all you wanted to say? Then, goodbye. Huh? Hey, wait a...
I hung up without waiting for Ken's response, feeling a sudden release of tension. Unknowingly, my body had been stiff with stress. But I managed to say it. I told him off. Mom, you were so cool, Harry said, playfully jumping around me, to which I smiled back. Later, my ex-husband managed to avoid a criminal record by paying a settlement amount. Even though he was disowned by his family, we made sure he promised to pay alimony and child support. Consequently, Ken's in-laws threw him into a company they knew, where he's been working desperately from dawn till dusk. The affair partner, who was Ken's subordinate, continued her unauthorized absences after Ken moved in with her, and due to Harry's revelations, she found herself without a place in the company and apparently resigned on her own. What happened to her after she broke up with Ken remains unknown. I'm slowly returning to work, albeit intermittently. Becoming a single mother, I'm surrounded by reliable people, including Anna, which means I'm never alone. I'll keep moving forward, looking ahead. Right now, at my son's eager request, we're planning a trip abroad. The destination is, of course, the homeland of the master who crafted the jewelry that still shines in my possession.